How Roman was the Holy Roman Empire? The Holy Roman Empire was one of the great hegemonic powers of the European Middle Ages, through till the date of its dissolution during the Napoleonic Wars, with its borders at different stages covering Central and Western Europe and parts of Italy, including Rome itself. With the crowning of Charlemagne as Holy Roman Emperor in 800 AD, it was declared there a continuation or revival of ancient Rome, hence the name. But how Roman were they actually? First things first, how did the Holy Roman Empire come into being? To put it simply, in the closing years of the 8th century, facing political unrest and accusations of corruption, Pope Leo III sought the protection of Charlemagne, king of the Franks and Lombards, to which the great king agreed. In return, Pope Leo III crowned Charlemagne as Imperator Romanorum, making him the first reigning emperor in the West since the deposition of Romulus Augustus in 476 AD. The benefits were mutual. It reinforced the Pope's authority as the custodian of imperial power and Charlemagne's legitimacy and recognition as the unifier of Christian Europe. It's worth noting that during this time the Byzantine Empire, properly named the Roman Empire, was ruled by Empress Irene, who had usurped the throne from her son, Constantine VI. This usurpation and her status as a female ruler led many, including Pope Leo III, to view her reign as illegitimate. This perceived vacancy of the imperial throne provided an opportunity to crown Charlemagne, effectively recentering Roman authority in the West, echoing its position in antiquity. So it was the papacy who brought this about. But just because the Pope called them the Holy Roman Empire doesn't make it so. And did the Pope and subsequent popes really believe the HRE were truly a continuation of ancient Rome? If you consider that the multiple attempts by the HRE to exert influence on Rome was always met with resistance by the papacy, it begs the question as to whether they really viewed the HRE as being truly Roman in the first place. For if they did, surely they'd be happy for them to be in Rome. From this angle, it seems the whole thing was nothing more than a pragmatic political move by Pope Leo III to bolster his own authority and protect himself from external and internal threats. What about Charlemagne? It is heavily debated as to how significantly Charlemagne viewed his coronation. Whilst it is agreed he most likely enjoyed the prestige of being crowned emperor, as it cemented his authority over his already vast territories, he simultaneously never officially used the title Roman Emperor, but also sought recognition from the Byzantines of his imperial title. So the stock he placed on the Roman aspect is less clear. It is suggested this was done, however, to maintain good relations with the Byzantines, perhaps giving the reason for his ambiguity. Nevertheless, in the following centuries, bar a few instances, the papacy continued to crown the new rulers of the HRE as emperors of the Romans, and following the crowning of Otto I in 962 AD, greater emphasis was placed on being emperor of the Romans more than their Carolingian predecessors. What about the HRE itself, beyond its rulers, that made it Roman, in more than just name? From a geographical point of view, the HRE was distinct from the ancient Roman Empire in its origins and location. While ancient Rome dominated the Mediterranean, the Holy Roman Empire was focused on Central Europe, with its core territories in Germany, Austria, and parts of Italy. And Rome itself, the symbolic heart of the Roman Empire, was under the control of the Papal States for most of the HRE's existence. From a political point of view, the HRE was markedly different from ancient Rome. The Roman political system was complex, yes, but it was centralised, both in the Republican and Imperial eras. Though the legal and administrative systems of the HRE bore some resemblance to Roman models, such as its adoption of Justinian's Code, they were heavily influenced by Germanic traditions as well. Further, the decentralised nature of the empire, composed of hundreds of semi-autonomous principalities, was far removed from the centralised bureaucracy of ancient Rome. So not only does this put into question its Romanness, but also whether it was really an empire. Its deep fragmentation meant the Holy Roman emperors consistently found it difficult to impose their will over their subjects, with local loyalty often being viewed as more important than to the so-called emperor, with emperors frequently depending on the cooperation of powerful local rulers, such as the German princes and electors, to maintain order. Hence many argue the HRE did not exhibit characteristics of a traditional empire, let alone a Roman-styled one. Architecturally and artistically, the Holy Roman Empire drew inspiration from Roman styles. The revival of classical learning during the Carolingian Renaissance, under Charlemagne, was an attempt to reconnect with Rome's intellectual heritage. However, this connection was more about emulating the idea of Rome as a beacon of civilization, rather than maintaining direct cultural continuity. Further, this cultural revival was undertaken all over Europe, mostly without the pretense of these kingdoms and states being directly related to ancient Rome. We've looked at the HRE itself, but by looking beyond its borders, a problem arises. The Roman Empire still existed. An immediate issue with considering the HRE as being truly Roman is the fact that the Eastern Roman Empire, often called the Byzantine Empire, still existed, unlike the HRE, which was markedly distinct from ancient Rome in virtually every way, as we have shown. The Eastern Roman Empire was a direct continuation of the ancient Rome we know and love and think about every day. This is because, during the 4th century, the empire was divided into separate, co-equal courts, east and west, to govern the empire more efficiently. Even so, the Romans still viewed it as a single empire, with the divide being merely practical. The Western Roman Empire did eventually fall, or rather terminally decline, with many using 476 AD as its end date. The eastern portion, however, carried on for almost 1,000 years more, coexisting with the so-called Holy Roman Empire. Nevertheless, they never recognized the HRE as a revival of their Western counterpart. This lack of recognition from the Byzantines, which the HRE returned in kind, gave rise to something known as the problem of the two emperors, a political and ideological conflict over the rightful claim to the Roman imperial legacy, and the idea that the Roman Empire could only have one emperor. On the one hand, you had the Byzantines, who could trace their lineage to ancient Rome, and on the other, the HRE, whose claims were centred on an apparent technicality exploited by Pope Leo III. Though this didn't spill over to full-scale war, it did sour diplomatic ties between the two. But by looking at the claims historically, it is the Byzantines who have the true claim to the Roman imperial legacy, and incidentally, were regarded as such with little or no problem until we reached the point of Pope Leo III crowning Charlemagne in a shady political move. And if you consider that the Pope in question deemed the imperial throne empty due to the technicalities surrounding Empress Irene, he was at the very least acknowledging the Byzantines as Roman until that point, which ironically weakens the HRE's claim to Romanness by the very man who gave them that title. Well, there you have it. The Holy Roman Empire was Roman in name and aspiration, but it was far removed from the actual Roman Empire in terms of governance, culture, history, and geography. Its Roman identity was rooted in ideology, serving as a means to claim legitimacy and connect with the prestige of ancient Rome, when in reality, it was a unique medieval creation, blending Roman, Christian, and Germanic traditions into a distinct, decentralized political and cultural entity. From a purely historical point of view, it is the Byzantines who were not merely a continuation of the Eastern Roman Empire, but the Roman Empire itself. The western half may have fallen by the 5th century, but the eastern half most certainly did not. And so, to conclude with the words of Voltaire, the Holy Roman Empire was neither holy, nor Roman, nor an empire. Thank you for watching. If you would like to see more on a wide variety of interesting topics, then like, comment, and subscribe.